in America. That works great. Government is fabulous for giant drug companies, just not for people trying to get a prescription filled, right?
I'm here at the Elizabeth Warren rally in Miami the day before she's supposed to take the stage at the first Democratic debate. I wanted to talk to some of her supporters about her position on Medicare for All. She's a co-sponsor in the Senate. She signed the TYT Progressive Pledge, which includes Medicare for All, but she's not really talked about it much on the campaign trail. Notably, it's not one of her main points on her campaign website. Do her supporters feel angry about that, upset? Do they care at all? I wanted to talk to them about that.
And she has ideas and a plan for most of the things that we're facing: climate change, student debt. It's a little light on health care.
Right, so I want to ask you about that.
That's my question. That's what I want to ask her about. I mean, if I can't get to ask a question and I ask it right now, maybe she'll answer it for me.
Healthcare is one of the top issues for Democratic voters. Elizabeth Warren's been accused of backtracking on Medicare for All. Have you seen that, or do you agree with that statement?
I saw a little bit about that. I think that, Elizabeth Warren is smart in the sense that she knows that she needs to come out with big, bold ideas to mobilize her base, but she also needs to be pragmatic in the sense of she doesn't want to make promises that she won't be able to keep in her administration. As much as I personally would love to see a Medicare for All system in our country, I don't know if it will be feasible within this next presidential term.
That actually doesn't matter to me. I think it gets... I'm a business student, so I can see how it can get kind of fuzzy to try to get Medicaid for all. I do think she is going to provide a way to, get people to have Medicare, but I think having everyone have the same level of Medicare is going to be more difficult, so it's not an issue for me that she's kind of moving around that.
You know what I think about Elizabeth Warren? I think she doesn't like to support policy proposals that she doesn't completely understand, and as we know, healthcare policy is very complicated, and I think once she gets a good grip and a good handle on how she's actually going to implement healthcare policy, be it Medicare for All, I think she'll come out and support it. But that's just me speculating, but I really think following her career, I think that's where she's holding off a little bit on.
I think it's an issue that if she is backtracking on that issue, but I think there's other issues in front of that. Number one, global warming, the economy, the way things are structured, and having politicians taking corporate PAC money, etc. So I think that and getting money out of politics are the two most important things. Once you get the money out of politics, everything else is going to fall into place.
She's adamantly for Medicare for all. She made a point that Bernie Sanders has made in his own bill, which is there are many ways of getting there. And his bill has a public option as a down payment along the way. There's many ways to get to Medicare for all single payer. I think that is an unfair criticism.
So Elizabeth Warren has moved on to the Q&A portion of her town hall. And what's interesting is that she did not mention Medicare for All during her speech portion.
One thing that I've observed is that there's really a 1-2 punch going on with Warren and Bernie putting out bold progressive proposals that really move the entire center of gravity on the debate stage, right? I mean, she was first out of the gate for a debt retirement, debt cancellation proposal.
And then he just put out his plan.
He put out his. He puts out Medicare for All. She has her way of describing it. But what's the net effect? People like Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and others are like, oh, right, I support that too. And what does that do?
I support that too.
Obviously, I think some of us believe that others would be more bold champions in the White House, but it is validating to have Warren and Sanders go first and have the entire pack follow. That moves, that's a long-term play. And I think that she should get credit for being with Bernie in the fight, not picked apart for that.